Hey, everybody, how's it going? Welcome, and you made it. You made it to Friday. This is Guerrilla Sports Off Ice. I'm Jesse Montano. You're going to be joined by Meghan Angley in just a moment. We got a really fun show for you guys. Got a special guest that'll be joining us after the first segment, Dan Webb, founder, CEO, 43 Degree Sports. Going to be a really fun show for you guys. Got a lot to get into. But, of course, do want to start by reminding you guys about our great friends over at Trusted American Mortgage. Head on over to trustedamerican.com/sports. They want to help you lower your interest rate, get a better monthly payment. If you act now, they might even be able to help you skip that mortgage payment for a couple months, put some extra cash back in your pocket. Head on over to trustedamerican.com/sports. See how much money they can help you start saving today. Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome in. Friday afternoon edition, Guerrilla Sports Off Ice. I'm Jesse Montano. She is Meghan Angley. We're going to be joined by Dan Webb, founder, CEO of 43 Degree Sports, 43 Degree Hockey. Really excited for this conversation. Meghan, I got a chance to chat with Dan a little bit. I believe that was 2 weeks ago. Hockey has been my entire life. I started playing when I was 4. I have seen a lot of people attempt to do what Dan and the folks over at 43 Degree have successfully done, and nobody has done it to the level that they have there. So I'm really excited to chat with him about everything that they got going. But as always, how the heck are you, Meghan? How you doing on this Friday?
I'm really good. I celebrated my dad's birthday yesterday.
Right.
So we did lots of karaoke, had some cake, we did Top Golf, and he loved
Did
it.
he?
Yes.
All right.
He was, I know we talked about it on the last show.
Top
He was
Golf gate,
initially against Top Golf because of how close it was built to the home and it could obstruct the view.
Mm-hmm.
He is fully in on Top Golf now. He's talking about going back with the neighbors.
Bought the membership. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's pretty hype and really had a good birthday. So
Good.
I'm in a great mood. How are you today?
I'm great. It was Charlie's birthday yesterday, if
The
you remember.
Wiener dog?
The weenie. No, so he had a day full of new squeaky toys, lots of treats, and so no, it was good.
Two legends.
Seriously. And then Zach Robb is in town. So he's coming down to hang
Where's
out
his
tonight.
exact location right now?
He's up in so he's coming down tonight. A couple of our other hockey buddies are gonna come by. We got a brand new patio.
Nice.
At the Montano house. So we're going to be hanging out on the patio tonight.
That's exciting.
So it'll be good. And, it's Friday. It's Friday during the off season. So that's how I am.
And
Friday in the off season.
Will be breaking news.
Right. Yes. Well, Meghan, you and I have a bow to put on the conversation that we started on Monday because, shocker, we ran long and we ran out of time. So we're going to do that. We're going to finish up our conversation about the forwards, top 6, where's maybe still some room to be filled in. Then we will be joined by Dan Webb of 43 Degree Sports here on the show to talk about them as a company, their bags, their products. And then Dan's a big hockey fan as well. He's a big Avs fan. So we're going to talk a little bit of Avs and getting ready for the season with him once we get there. But let's start by wrapping up this conversation that we were having on Monday, because you made the point that even on defense, there's certain parts of the lineup, Makar, Taves on D. You talk about McKinnon and Lehkonen. It feels almost like you can gloss over it because it's just so set and forget. But there are a lot of moving parts, especially up front right now for this group, that they need to get figured out. And you need to make sure that you're filling in the same way that we talked about with that back end of a guy like Brent Burns. How does he help relieve pressure off guys like Cale Makar, Devon Taves? You have a lot of the same types of questions when you're talking about up front, especially when you're talking about the Logan O'Connor injury. So let's start by wrapping up the top 6 conversation. We spent a lot of time talking about Marty Necas, Brock Nelson. But what about the incumbents, if you will? Arturi Lehkonen, Nathan McKinnon, Val Nichushkin, and now Gabe Landeskog. I guess just let's say hypothetically you hit the October 1st with that top 6 right there. How do you feel?
Well, I feel pretty good. I know Gabriel Landeskog still has a lot to show in an 82 game season
Mhm.
versus the small sample size we saw in the playoffs, but it was extremely encouraging. And then, of course, the conditioning stint with the Eagles, it just remained very encouraging starting from that point going into those playoff games. And I'll get to that in a second because I think the Landeskog and the question mark around him is interesting. But I wanted to talk about Arturi Lehkonen off the top because of some of those names. I think this is the player that has the most difference to make from one year to the next, given the trajectory he's been on. And it's something I don't want to gloss over because he does set a new career high in goals and he misses a little bit of time to start the season last year. And in the couple seasons before that, like the year before that, after his first year in Colorado, he only played 45 games. And so that first full year in Colorado was actually his goal record set at that time. And I think that bump in production that we talk about when players come to Colorado has been absolutely true of Lehkonen, but he hasn't played a full enough season from the point where he first got here through now for us to even really see what he's fully capable of. But one, guarantee if he plays at least 60 games, he's getting 20 goals easy. Now, in a top 6 capacity, you actually probably want to see a little bit more, but that's not a bad starting place because I want to see a full season of Arturi Lehkonen. You know, even some of these, to include last year, where he set this new career high in goals, he's missed a little bit of time. So I just want to see a full season of Arturi Lehkonen with some consistency too, because I think with Jonathan Drouin moving on, that leaves an opportunity that's kind of solidly Arturi Lehkonen's in the top 6. Not that he was ever really at risk of being bumped out of it, but now it's just more clearly his role. And there is a chemistry between McKinnon and Lehkonen. They're very complementary to one another. It's not set in stone that those two will be playing on the top line. It's kind of how it looks right now here in July. But any amount of time that Lehkonen will spend playing with McKinnon next year is going to be great for Arturi Lehkonen. And what I want to talk about too with that trajectory, not even just one year to the next with the Avs, is even how he started last year and finished it. You go back to that first round, he was on the doorstep of so many chances and just simply getting denied by Jake Ottinger. And where he really impressed me was he came out as the third most in scoring chances at 5v5 in the first round of any skaters, any teams.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So across the entire
the entire first round. And to the eye test, you saw Arturi Lehkonen at the net front trying for high danger opportunities, and he was just getting denied. And so I feel that's a player where the process was so good in the playoffs and he just didn't get rewarded. You know, there are some players that were being very effectively shut down, like Makar and McKinnon, but in terms of how Arturi Lehkonen was creating chances, that was a skater and a goaltender issue. You know, that was Jake Ottinger closing the door on him because he was finding a way around a lot of the defenders on behalf of Dallas and driving inside ice. And so I'm just excited with what he showed in the playoffs that he can build upon going into next year.
Well, and it wasn't even just the playoffs. Like if you remember that last few weeks down the stretch, Arturi Lehkonen was really snake bit. That was some 27 goals for him last season. And I think there's a real argument to be made that, he gets a little bit more puck luck there coming down the stretch, likely a 30 goal scorer. And then we talked about it on Monday as well. And I'm glad you that's an interesting stat. You know, we talked about it relative to Cale Makar being snake bit on Monday, but Arturi Lehkonen, you brought up on Monday and now again,
he was highly effective, and he also, you know, in the playoffs, I know scoring was just kind of down for the Avs on a whole, but timely moments from Arturi Lehkonen, some of which he didn't capitalize on, but some that he did. And I know the clutch factor is often disputed. Is it a real thing?
Oh, of course it is.
It's certainly a real thing. Arturi Lehkonen, you know, that's the secret thing too that you see come alive in him in the playoffs that we just didn't get enough time to see more of this last season, that I expect to be a continued trend for him.
I mean, this is a guy who, when he got to Colorado, was looked at as a middle 6 guy, really high energy. For me, Megan, this is a bona fide top 6 winger. And the way that his game complements Nathan McKinnon's, like you said, it's not so seamless that you have to play him together every night. But just what he does combined with the level of skill that he does have, and just what a pest he is to play against. It works really well. Nathan McKinnon, him and Nate have a really good relationship as well, which is always good just to break through that kind of tough exterior of Nathan MacKinnon.
Yeah, because I think he's complementary to MacKinnon. And so the other part of this relates to him, and that is keying in on the power play. And this is where Arturi Lehkonen has a huge opportunity at the start of this year. There's now no longer Jonathan Drouin in consideration for that top unit. And it'll kind of be a question of, Val Nichushkin, Arturi Lehkonen, who do you want to see on that top unit? I think that the skill set that both players has is valuable there. And so it's kind of a little bit of an internal competition with such a focus on the power play too, because of its struggles in the playoffs. I think there's room for, new opportunity and people to sort of claim their place there on that top unit. And so it's up to Arturi Lehkonen to establish that. But that's where there's increased opportunity for us to see a further bump in his production. And the toolkit that he has, I think, is his ability to find his teammates in traffic and to protect the puck in the dangerous areas below the goal line. And that's where I think Lehkonen has really great vision, and he's great at finding
sneaky skill.
MacKinnon on the power play specifically. Yeah. And so this is an anti-Val Nichushkin. I just want to see both of the best out of those players, going head to head for that role on the top unit. And there's still a world in which they both can be on it. But I want to see that level of compete kind of internally just translate to something very good for this power play.
The dismissive hate of Gabe Landeskog on PP1 from Meghan Angley.
Look, I was kind of ruling it where it's either Val or Arturi, and Gabe's instantly in the picture, but I don't want to rule it out that maybe it includes Val. But they kind of serve the same role, and they do it a bit differently. So that's where it'll just be a matter of what complements this top unit the best, and what does Hackstall think. I'm just kidding. I don't think it'll come down to that specifically.
Gabe Landeskog, Val Nichushkin, kind of the last two guys from that top six. To me, it's about health for both these guys. We talked about Val Nichushkin as being a potential player that. Look, I said at the beginning of the offseason, do you float his name out there? Do you see what teams could potentially be interested in a guy like Val Nichushkin? Because the availability just became a bit of a problem last season.
Right.
In the playoffs, it just wasn't that same pop
Absolutely.
that we've been used to seeing. Now, again, I think he started getting a little bit closer with playing with Gabe Landeskog, Brock Nelson. But for me, with what we saw with Gabe, it is, okay, how can you manage this? How can you make sure that he's at his best regularly? That to me is the question. With Val Nichushkin, I do feel like I'm back into a little bit of this realm, Megan, of what exactly is he? What kind of player is Val Nichushkin, and what role is he going to fill on this team?
Yeah, well, starting with Val Nichushkin, the availability is kind of everything, because the impact game by game is pretty consistent. I think we've seen a little bit of a decline in the point per game production, but it's still extremely high, which I want to point out.
And their record with him in the lineup versus not in the lineup is still a pretty stark contrast.
Absolutely tilted in significant favor of the value of Val Nichushkin. And we haven't really gotten a full season of him either since the cup run. And so that's where it's a tough pill to swallow. Like, if you look at his points per game, going back the last few seasons, this last season, just 34 points in 43 games. That's still a really high point per game. That's about 0.8. The season before, 0.98. The season before, 0.88. And then the year of the cup win, it was 0.83. So it was actually trending upwards. It just took a bit of a backslide this last year. But given the healing era that Val Nichushkin is in, I am in full support of that. One, because it's still within this range that you want to see a top six player converting at. And so it comes down to the availability of Val Nichushkin. And the other thing that I don't want to gloss over is we got full availability of Val Nichushkin. And, a 7-game series, first round of the playoffs, it's a huge step forward. I know that probably doesn't sound like much to an outsider,
right,
just dropping in for the first time. But that is a huge step forward in a player that has had a long road to recovery and is going to continue to be on this path now for the foreseeable future, that you have to celebrate the little victories then with Val Nichushkin. And so I want to see him continue to build upon turning this page, this new chapter of his life. It has to be this way. And so it is a bummer that he missed some time last season for injury reasons, but I just want to see Val Nichushkin get healthy and stay healthy all the right ways. And so if that comes at the expense of missing a couple extra games to make sure his body's really feeling good so that he's not coming back prematurely and playing through a little bit of soreness and pain and it just becoming this cycle of a problem, then I'm happy for Val Nichushkin. So I hope that this set new processes in mind, like in his brain, for how to think about these things, how to process these things, that just carries over into next year. And we see even more games played in the regular season for Val, but especially in the postseason.
Has not played more than 65 games in an NHL season since 2016 with the Dallas Stars before his KHL stint. Might just be one of those players that you have to live with it. 20 games a year, you're going to be without him because, as you just laid out, the value per game, that's not a phrase, but it is now, VPG.
The VPG of V.
The VPG of VN is high. It's high.
It's extremely high. And, if that's just kind of you reframe how you think of this player, this is player management. You just expect a couple games off in the regular season so that he's getting right with his body. I'm fine with it.
It's the extended. I mean, he missed half the season this year, but it's the extended stretches when he's out 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. Those are the ones where it really does it really feels.
I want to see year by year if they're doing this the right way now and giving him the time off that's appropriate. I want to see that number become lesser and lesser until he has a good understanding of what's kind of needed for rest in season. And gets that down to the smallest but most reasonable number possible.
Yep. All right, let's shift our focus to
Landy.
Oh, yes. I was about to skip him. Whoops. I was just so excited to talk about Logan O'Connor.
Colorado's top 6? Perfect. No notes.
Gabe Landeskog. I think he exceeded expectations from what everybody thought he was going to be able to do. For me, Megan, the only question is load management. Do you sit him out? Do you hold him out of games? How does his knee respond to a full season's worth of work? Your thoughts, Gabe Landeskog?
Yeah, it's tough because it is such a small sample size. And so even like some of these numbers I pulled from NHL Edge stats to kind of gauge where his skating was at coming back into these games, it's not super favorable. It's below the 50th percentile, but he played 5 games in the playoffs and started in a third line role, elevated to second line. So just in terms of minutes played, it's not very meaningful information. But in looking at his last season of hockey played, the bar to clear, he set that so high. That was a career year with 30 goals in that cup season. But he's been a 20-goal player almost every full NHL season that he's played. And so even a young Gabriel Landeskog was producing at that clip that I'm excited to at least kind of set the bar there for him. I'm not saying 20 goals is necessarily the standard, but I don't think that's a hard one for him to meet. Right. Even getting his legs back under him just because rookie Gabriel Landeskog was doing it and then consistently doing it year by year through many different iterations of an Avalanche team. So it's hard to look at that last year. You almost shouldn't for any frame of reference, right? He was playing 20 minutes a night with the 3-headed monster in a top 6 role, top line role, and it's just going to be very different. But I still think it's going to be quite impressive for Gabriel Landeskog given what I saw in the playoffs.
You know what? And this just came to me. Do you think, and it's an impossible hypothetical, if Gabe Landeskog doesn't get hurt and we continue to see the 3-headed monster, does that change what happened last year with Mikko? I mean, I get you still potentially have the contract dispute and all that stuff, but like, if you're playing consistently with the best line in hockey, right? We don't have to get into that right now. I can give you the weekend to pontificate on that one.
It's just really sad, Jesse.
I know.
We didn't get healthy Landy and we lost Mikko.
And that led to... No, I'm just kidding.
Those are real things.
I'm really curious to see what Gabe Landeskog does over the course of an 82-game season, whether, regardless of how many games he plays. Because of what we saw in 7 games, I thought was so impressive.
Yes.
Megan, any other thoughts on the top 6 right now? As we've both pointed out, there's still, unfortunately, a lot of offseason left. And as this picture changes and molds, we're going to revisit it. And we'll talk with Dan a little bit about the bottom part of the lineup here in the back half of the show. But any other thoughts on the top 6 before we transition here?
Only other thing with Landeskog is the obvious difference he made when he was moved up to that second line, because I did think, Val Nichushkin's playoff performance just needed a little more energy, a little more passion. And I think Gabe brought the energy to that line. And I think it was fun for Brock Nelson to get that experience too, because I think that helped to open up his game a little bit. And I'm excited to see the impact then of just Gabriel Landeskog's presence generally on the top 6. It might not be individual production that he's necessarily impacting, but I think that he is going to elevate that line in a big way, leading to better individual performances for both of those players.
Love it. We will be talking plenty more about Gabe Landeskog and the Avs top 6 here as the offseason rolls on, but we're going to pause here for about 20 seconds, get a little resituated, and then we're going to be joined by Dan Webb of 43 Degree Sports. Stick with us. 20 seconds here. All right, and we are now, my pot, there we go. Now we are joined by Dan Webb, founder, CEO, 43 Degree Sports. Dan, thanks for hanging out with us, man.
Yeah, it's great to be here. It's an honor. I love everything you guys are doing, and what is better than hanging out talking about hockey, and especially the Avalanche.
We feel the same way. There's not much that beats it. We're really lucky, but we're lucky to have you here. You came by the studio a couple weeks ago, chatted with Blake and I, and dude, I mean, we just love everything about what you're doing. So I guess let's just start here for folks that don't know what's 43 Degree Sports.
So 43 Degree Sports, you can see we have made a custom one for you right in front of here. It's
beautiful.
Finally, a solution to what we think is the worst part of hockey with smelly, disgusting, bacteria-ridden equipment.
Yep.
So our product is a heated, temperature-controlled hockey bag that is designed so all you have to do is plug it in, flip a switch, and it heats up hot enough to kill 96% of odor-causing and harmful bacteria, completely taking that hockey smell away and sanitizing and drying your equipment. And the real beauty of it is that all the materials are custom designed so that the only air that can escape is the air that's been cleaned. So you can do it in a hotel room during tournaments on the road. You can do it in the trunk of your car or in the middle of your living room, and you're always going to have clean, safe gear that doesn't smell.
So there's, just threw up the graphic right here. Yep. These were the test results that you were walking us through a couple weeks ago. After a single-use 43 Degree hockey bag reduced bacteria by 96% in shin guards, 89% in gloves. I got ringworm on my calf as a kid from my shin guards being so disgusting.
Yep, and it absolutely takes care of that and kills ringworm. We had a mother who you can go to our social media page and check out who just bought a bag for her kid a couple weeks ago because same thing. He was hiding it from her for almost a month. And they finally went to the pool and she was like, oh my, what is that on your leg? And, happy to say she reported back and, just a couple weeks using the bag and completely gone. No more ringworm. So
it's amazing. And I was saying it off the top. I've seen a lot of companies try this over the years, not to put them on blast, but I remember the Shock Doctor one.
Oh yeah.
With the big fan in the side and the big silver tubs you throw your gear in and stuff. What's the significance of 43 degrees that you said that's when it starts to kill bacteria?
Yeah. So the concept is just like a fever in your body. If you get it hot enough, it's going to kill harmful, and in hockey's case, odor-causing bacteria.
Mm.
So 43 degrees is the minimum temperature in Celsius that the bag needs to get to start effectively killing that bacteria in every inch of the bag. So that translates to about 110 degrees Fahrenheit. We all know a fever starts around 100, and that's where most bacteria starts being eliminated. And the upper threshold is 140 degrees Fahrenheit, which is where up to 96% of those bacteria are being eliminated.
Gotcha.
And a question that I get immediately too, and something that you asked me right away is, well, is the heat going to cause damage to my equipment?
Right.
Is it gonna rebake my skates? Is it gonna make glues melt in helmets?
Yeah, skates was the first thing I thought of. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'd be lying if I said I didn't lose a lot of sleep at night when I was perfecting this product to make sure that was not happening.
Yeah.
And in all of our research, we've come with around 200 degrees is where glues soften, skates get rebaked.
Interesting.
So we tapped it at 140 so that it can kill as much bacteria as possible, but also make sure that it's not harming any of your equipment.
Yeah.
I had a customer reach out to me who split his time between California and Toronto. He was up there for 3 months, and he went to go turn his bag on, and the bag was on. So that means it was on for 3 months while he was up in Toronto. And I was,
Whoops.
whoa, what happened? Nothing. Everything smells great. Totally fine.
Everything
no damage.
smells
So
great.
Yeah.
it's we designed it to be a foolproof process so that all you have to do, plug it in, flip the switch. It's saving you time in your pre and post game routine rather than adding to it.
And then maybe a small little bonus. Cold gear in the winter is the worst.
Oh yeah.
So you don't have to put on, forget the smell. You don't have to put on cold gear.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We sponsored several pond hockey tournaments in the mountains this winter in Evergreen and Georgetown. And we set up a warming hut. We're letting people come by between games, throw their gloves and their skates inside the bag, and you leave them in there for an hour, and you're putting warm gloves and skates on and all of your equipment. But the skates and gloves are extraordinary, you know, and it breaks in the materials so that I would always have to spray a bunch of water on the palms of my gloves because the leather cracks and stiffens up. But when you preheat that stuff, it activates the oils in the leathers and softens them up and makes them feel incredible. Especially goaltenders, which we all know are their own unique breed. Absolutely love the bag because preheating it, they call it butter glove, because you pull the glove out and it snaps open and closed way simpler, smoother, more effective than it ever would without it.
Yeah.
You can see I have a little temperature reader in there. So right now it's 125.
We get the tight on him,
20% humidity here inside of the bag. So, 20% humidity. It is completely dry in there.
Wow.
And, hot enough that it's preheating this. It's warming up the glove, making it feel incredible. Our goalies call it butter glove. And, even just, especially with tournaments, you're playing multiple games, you're pouring sweat into your pads. They're getting heavy. They're getting stiff. So a lot of times, by the time you make it to the championship game, the goalies are feeling their worst because they're wet, they're heavy, they're not being at their best confidence-wise. So just being able to preheat your equipment, having it be light, dry, you're feeling quick and fast, and even that mental confidence boost for goalies, we all know is almost everything.
I always say I think goaltending is more confidence or more mental than it is physical. You were talking about your friend who's a
microbiologist, you guys. So I was talking with her about some stinky hockey players I know, and she's like, I think I know what bacteria very specifically is causing it, and I want to do swabs. Like, I want to confirm this. And she said too, it's not hard to eliminate it. Like, she didn't go into anything relating to heat specifically, but she said, especially if it is the specific bacteria, it's not hard to get rid of it. And so her stance was like, these boys are just so close to not being stinky, and they don't even realize that the path to being not stinky is so close. And I wanted to ask specifically with goaltenders, because the Avs have the top of the line, ventilation systems in their locker room. And the only time that I've almost passed out because of equipment was because I stood way too close to Georgiev's pads. And so I just wanted to know, in the trials for this product, if you had to really key in on goalie equipment to make sure, like, all right, it eliminated the smell from the skaters. Were the goalies a little longer in the trial process to get the odor gone?
So what we discovered in the trial is that goaltenders have almost all their equipment is leather based, right? And so what happens with the leather is that the bacteria gets combined with the oils in the leather. So when you're drying out your gear, that oil is retracting into the middle of the leather, and the bacteria is with it. So even if you're putting it in a bathtub with hot water, bleach, and OxyClean, which is the traditional way of washing the equipment, it's not able to reach the bacteria because it's trapped in the oils inside of it. So when you heat it up, it brings that oil to the surface. The heat is then allowed to attack the bacteria that's living inside the oil, and it actually cleans the equipment.
That's amazing.
That's fascinating.
Like in finding too that heat threshold, did it seem like, for some of the skaters that it was actually a lower threshold? It was the goaltenders who had it kind of getting up
to
higher.
Keep pushing it.
Yeah. So and the bag does have a switch on it so that it has 3 different temperatures on it, so that we recommend putting it all the way up to hot for the most sanitization and to dry the equipment the fastest. But I do have some people that would prefer to have it take longer to fully dry, but do it at a lower temperature. But also mainly those lower temperatures are for preheating it. So that, if you're playing in a roller hockey tournament outside, you might want to preheat it so that your equipment is broken in and ready to go, but not so hot that you're sweating before you even hit on the rink.
Okay.
So it's not just an on-off. You've got variable, so you can do different
very
things.
Cool.
With it.
Exactly.
Really interesting.
And is there a timer setting so that your friend who had it on for 3 months or whatever it was?
So right now it doesn't. We have a version on the way. I showed you the temperature and humidity reader that we have. We're going to have one built into the bag that you'll be able to have an app with and track your schedule. It'll preheat for you, knowing when you're playing. So we'll have it with that. But I do have a lot of people where and I guess I am one of them, where I skate Monday and Wednesday nights. And a lot of times I get home late at night on Monday, I plug my bag in and I just leave it on until I play again on Wednesday. And then my stuff is preheated, it's clean, it's dry, it's been in there more than long enough to kill all that bacteria. And, like I said, it's not going to cause any damage to the equipment.
Right, it's safe.
We've actually found quite the opposite, that the bacteria really breaks down leathers and elastics and threading and sewing on all the pads. And your skates rust in a closed up, humidity filled bag. And so drying it and killing that bacteria actually really helps maintain that expensive equipment and makes it so that it's going to last much longer than it would if it's just immediately collecting mold and decaying inside of your bag.
So to your point about, playing Monday, you come home late. And so I think I was telling you when I was a kid, my dad built, an equipment rack in the garage. I don't live with my parents anymore, and I have my own garage and all that stuff, and I don't have a full rack and all that stuff. I got a hook where I'll hang my bag, and you get home late and you unzip it so that the air gets out. But then I'm always like, well, shit, what's gonna climb in my bag while I've just got it open? And so as you were just sitting there talking, I was like, dang, that would be so nice just to be able to bring it home. You plug it in, and that's all you've got to. It's the same amount of effort as just unzipping it and walking away.
Well, and every hockey player has a nightmare of when you're airing your equipment out that you forget a skate or a helmet or a vital piece of gear at home.
I once saw someone play in lieu of a shin pad, someone else's 2 extra gloves taped to their leg.
Exactly. Right. And hey, he made that work. But if it was a skate, you're either getting rental skates or you're not playing, you know. And so we love having extra added peace of mind that your gear's in your bag all the time. You have everything always because it lives in your bag. It's cleaned in your bag. It's dried in your bag. So it's always there.
For sure.
Vaguely Sober in the chat keeps asking if it can keep a pizza warm. How many pizzas can it keep warm? I'm wondering though, if there's something you don't want to have kept warm. Are there compartments in the bag?
Yes, absolutely. So the 2 end pockets on it, that's a great question. The 2 end pockets on it do not get hot. So even though,
so here, do you want to put that one up here?
Yeah. So
my favorite part is it looks like a bag.
Yeah.
Like it
to be a normal hot.
Yes, it looks like a bag.
So you can keep wax, soap.
Nice.
You can see it was 125 there inside the bag, but I got my wax here and it's still completely solid. You can keep soap, wax, tape, anything like that, your phone, anything like that in the end,
awesome.
and it's totally fine.
The protein bars.
What we really got to do, Megan, is gotta have you guys try the preheated glove on, smell the glove. Like I said, I skate 3 times a week.
Press box.
Wow.
It's impressive.
And you got to put your hand in there and feel the preheat and how soft it is and the leathers, and it really breaks everything in. And, you know, putting a skate on that feels like that is extraordinary, especially like you mentioned.
I would score
You're
20
in-
goals.
Oh, yeah.
I'm certain of it.
Easy.
I'm actually sending a bag today to someone in Alaska who, you know,
nice.
was emailing me saying he's so excited to have it for this winter. He has a pickup
Yes.
truck. He drives his pickup truck to the rink in the mornings in Alaska, and his gear is completely
Freezing.
frozen
Yeah.
solid. And, you know, a lot of pickup trucks just have 120 volt outlets right in the trunk. So you can just plug it in right in the bed of your trunk and
As you're
have it warm and
driving.
going as you're there.
That's
And, you know, if
amazing.
your truck doesn't have that, you can get a $20 adapter off Amazon to plug it right into the cigarette lighter and have it work that way too.
That's amazing.
Well, if you guys are as impressed by this bag as we are, Dan has hooked you all up with a code. Just you watching this show right now, go to 43degreesports.com and use the promo code Gorilla, GUERILLA. That doesn't get you free shipping. That's a $45 value. Get that bag sent to you for free.
Yep. And pro tip, if you also sign up for our email list, you also get $43 off your first purchase. So you can stack both those and get a nice discount to really understand how incredible the product is and upgrade your whole hockey routine with having dry, clean, and odor-free equipment.
I am super excited to use one. Like I said, I mean, I'm not just blowing smoke here. And I mean, I'm sure the inspiration for this came from what I'm talking about. I saw a lot of people try this growing up. It's a real problem.
Yeah.
Do I put them on blast or do I just say
No,
a player?
no,
okay.
don't
All
do
right.
it,
All right.
don't
All
do
right. There is a player for the Avs that is,
Stinky.
I grew up in rinks my whole life. The smell doesn't bother me. Half times I don't even notice it.
Yeah.
There's one guy in particular. It's like, whoa, man, they wash this stuff a lot. What is going on? Like I said, I'm sure that you grew up smelling that problem, seeing the attempted solutions. I'm sure. Well, I guess let's hear your lore a little bit.
Yeah.
Why?
So I came from a classic Colorado family, not a classic hockey family.
Yeah.
I was the first person in my family to fall in love with completely and start playing hockey. So the smell was completely foreign to them and was even harder to deal with when you've never experienced anything like that.
Yeah.
So my dad would strap my bag to the roof of the car when we drove to the rink because he wasn't going to deal with it. And, you know, I would buy my mom air fresheners and all kinds of stuff for her birthday and for Christmas.
Yeah.
I had this big contraption in the laundry room that you'd like load essential oils into it and it would like try and, you know, nothing worked.
Yeah,
so we then my father and I made a big metal locker in our garage that we put heat disc fans in there and prove the point that if you had enough heat and a little bit of air circulation, you could take the smell away and clean and dry the equipment. So as we were talking about earlier, you know, I'm a hockey guy and know that people aren't going to add time and routine to their stuff, especially the high school kids and the people at the peak of the smelliness. So the only way this was going to actually work is if we came up with a way that simplified the routine rather than complicated it.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is the 12th different version of the bag that we've made, everything from backpack bags and, you know, all kinds of different things to figure out the best way to solve this problem. As I mentioned before, it's completely self-contained system so that none of the air can escape that isn't the air that's already been cleaned. And that was something that took us many different variations in order to fully dial in and prove to work. In the first versions, we had vents and things on the side that would allow the air to escape, which cut into the drying time a little bit, but would just absolutely destroy your car or a room or anywhere that you were trying to do it in. So, you know, we made the conscious decision to, you know, maybe add an hour or two to the drying process, but make sure that that smell and that bacteria is contained. And so that mom and dad aren't smelling it and brother and sister aren't smelling it. And you can stay in a hotel room on the road and not have to have your entire family suffering with breathing and smelling your bacteria. You know, it's a real problem. So we're excited to have a solution.
Well, and what you just said combined with what, you know, you're talking about with your friend, like this is maybe going to sound silly, but like the smell being bacteria is something that I don't even think registers to many people. It's like, oh, it's sweat. They're just sweaty. It's like,
It's unique.
Right.
It's billions and billions of bacteria that are, for lack of etiquette, throwing up and pooping all over each other as they're breeding and mixing together, and I say to people all the time, if you were a marathon runner and you were going on, a 10-mile run 3 or 4 days a week, and you wore the same clothing and the same shoes, and you just stuffed them in a bag and you never cleaned it. Like, imagine how that would smell.
That's a great
You couldn't
analogy.
pay someone to do that for most other things, but with hockey, it's just part of it. It's we've always dealt with it, and it's for far too long. It's just hockey, nothing we can do. It's probably terrible for me, but it's just what I have to deal with.
Well, so I'll be honest. I never even thought about it being terrible. I mean, I got a bacterial infection on my leg as a kid, so I guess I shouldn't say I never thought about it.
That was a red flag.
But it's a red flag. Like you put on dry gear, and so you're like, oh, it's dry, it's fine.
Yep. But
you don't think about the fact, the minute it gets this much wet, it reeks all over again and all that stuff. And I believe you were telling us that's the bacteria re-waking up.
Yeah. So that's our hypothesis, is that we do know that when you're airing your equipment out, you're not eliminating any of the bacteria. You're just starving it and putting it to sleep. And then the next time you skate in it again, you sweat in it, you heat it up, you reactivate it. And then you're just adding new bacteria that is mixing with the old bacteria. And that's where we think the unique hockey smell is actually coming from, is that it's not just one type of bacteria. It's not one age of bacteria. It's different levels of bacteria that's coming from the same source, but is mixing and growing and breeding together time and time again over an extended period.
Gross.
Yeah. And it is, we had, ringworm and all kinds of everything from even flu and getting the cold. I would get sick growing up all the time playing hockey. And, we always just thought it was because you're working so hard and you're doing so much. But while you're working so hard and breathing, gasping for air, you're also just ingesting that bacteria at an accelerated rate that you're not experiencing anywhere else in life.
Handshake lines at the end of sharing water bottles and all that stuff. Yeah.
My microbiologist friend would love this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, I keep those the Petri dish test that you were showing us was the part, and you can even see the graphs there. So that one on the left is a shin pad. The first bar is dry. So what I was just talking about when it's dry. Second bar is after it's been washed. Third bar is while it's sweaty, and then that last bar that you can barely see a little bit of a hump is after it's pulled out of a 43-degree hockey bag. And then, I mean, to me, the difference is even way more stark when you're talking about the gloves.
Yeah. Well, and this goes back to what Megan had a great question earlier, was that the shin guard in the gloves have the most bacteria in them, but in very different ways, because the glove is so much of it is in the palm, which is leather. Right. And so you can see in the shin guard, in the second category there, when you're washing it, traditional washing method of soap, bleach, and hot water in a bathtub that you just kind of stir it up like a big witch's cauldron.
Yeah.
And, the water immediately turns completely black. And it is awful. But
I did it in our apartment once, and my wife was not impressed.
Yeah, it's no good. Yeah. But you can see that the shin guard on the left in the second column is actually able to kill a lot of the bacteria with the bleach, because it's able to get to it. But the glove that is heavily leathered, it's trapped inside the oils in the leather. And so even the bleach and hot water and soap is not able to clean it.
Right.
So heating it, again, brings that up to the surface and allows the heat to attack and eliminate it.
Wow.
And I mean, even with it, the bleach and water doing pretty well for the show. What a process, though, right? Especially by comparison.
Yeah, and we do recommend, if you have old gear that you've been using for seasons, you wash it one time. We are going to get all the bacteria out of it, but we can't get rid of plastic and dead skin and blood and dirt and all that other stuff. So you wash the equipment one time, return it back close to new as you can, and then you always keep it in the bag, sanitize it, and dry it every time, and your equipment maintains longevity and feels brand new and broken in every time you use it.
It doesn't stick to my hands.
Yeah.
If I were to go put my gloves on at home right now and just put them on for as long as I had yours on, I'd be able to smell it for the rest of the afternoon.
Yep. Well, I mean, my bag's just sitting here open, right? If you had any other hockey bag here in a studio, if it was just open and hanging out, like, we wouldn't all be in here with it. We would have already went out the back door by now, And so even just having that, for your car, for your hotel room, for your garage, even if you are airing it out and drying it out, and eventually the smell starts to diminish as it dries.
Yeah.
You're still walking through that and breathing it, and your whole family, and it is, if you're smelling it, it's very harmful, and it is not good for so many things.
Yeah.
We were
Jeez.
talking with John before the show, and he said, like, that's your body's reaction to something that's harmful to you. It's meant to smell bad to you. You're supposed to be a little bit repelled by it. And I shared the story of when I accidentally made nitric acid. And thankfully, my body alerted me that that was very bad, because I had a full body reaction to it, to include it didn't smell good.
Yeah. Well, and we talked about it, and Megan and I have talked about, when you came to the studio, we were all very impressed. I was telling Megan, and the Avs just spent millions of dollars to redo their game locker room at Ball Arena.
Yep.
And part of that renovation was they installed a bunch of heat and vents in the stalls.
Exactly.
And it all made sense to me.
Yeah. So they essentially are doing a, NHL level team wide version of what my bag is doing.
Totally.
So you can take the same method that the NHL teams, and not even all of the NHL teams. The Avalanche implemented this when they won the cup, and they had some money to burn and reinvest into the team. It's probably only the top 10, 12 teams in the league that have this system, but they are doing the same thing. They are shutting up the doors in the locker room. They are piping in 140-degree air, and they are sanitizing and cleaning everything in there. So whether you're a 8U player or a high school player or whatever level you're playing, even, beer league guys, you can have a individualized system that the best players on the planet are using in order to keep themselves clean and safe and performing their best. And you can do that, not for a multi-million-dollar investment into redesigning your house to do it. You can have a bag that you take everywhere with and can turn into your new favorite piece of hockey equipment.
Well, and what I love is, even the NHL players go home for the summer, and they need a way to keep their equipment clean when they don't have access to their NHL caliber rinks. And so I think there's a value for any hockey player anywhere in having this bag.
Yeah. And finding a way to do it as a bag, because that's a great point. Like, again, my dad built me a rack in the garage out of wood. Even NHL players aren't going to, invest all this money in putting these heat drying systems to make it as a bag. No, this is the thing you transport your gear in. Everybody, if you're playing hockey, you need one of these.
Exactly.
You need a bag. Might as well make it one that.
Well, and like you said, we experimented with fans very short in the beginning, and it's undeniable the long list of shortcomings that fans have, being loud and cumbersome and breaking easily. And the worst part of it is that, what we mentioned earlier, it's just drying the equipment out, and it's just prolonging the problem. It's not solving it. It's not diminishing or eliminating the bacteria at all. So our technology is an industrial strength heating element that wraps around the 4 long sides of the bag and makes a closed loop of heat in there, which allows a little bit of movement of air inside the bag, which allows the drying process to be a bit accelerated. So it is designed to be jammed in the back of cars and buses. And, you can see with my personal bag here, I've flown with it several times, still has the air tags on it. It's easy to fly with TSA, and is made so that you don't have to be delicate with it. You don't have to treat it any differently than you would your normal hockey bag. You can throw it, you can kick it. I put a social media video out not too long ago where I just went to a roller hockey rink and took slap shots at the bag for a half an hour, and then went and plugged it in, and it's totally fine.
Nice.
So even though it is a new piece of patented technology, it is something that completely fits into a hockey player's routine of, just having the equipment and loving it, but not having to be overly delicate with it and not worrying about it breaking or malfunctioning or anything like that.
Got a couple questions in the chat here for you. The first one, did you guys try any UV lights? Did you guys ever experiment with any of that?
Yeah, we did, and we thought about it. The 2 shortcomings of that we exposed were, it wasn't as much reduction of bacteria as the heat was, but the main problem is that the lights inside of the bag were so easy to get blocked that you would have to have so many different lights all throughout the bag in order to make sure that the light was actually reaching all of the equipment. You could either do it that way, or you would have to make it so that every individualized piece of equipment had a specified place for it in order to make sure that the light could reach everything. And then that just got us back into the realm of saying, we want this to be simple and foolproof so that you can close your eyes and put all your stuff in the bag, and all you have to do is flip the switch, and adding the UV light. There were avenues that could work with that, but it would make it more expensive and more complicated and add time to your routine. And so we just thought it wasn't really necessary.
And then it would look like a treasure coming out as you open it. Oh! And then this one I know the answer to, but do you guys do team bags?
Yes. So actually we are a Denver based company. I grew up here playing at Family Sports, and we have all of our own in-house customization materials now, so we can do names and numbers and logos. And as you saw on the front here, we made a bag for Gorilla here, and we have a great team program where anything over 10 plus bags, we can start doing great discounts on the bags and adding any customization that you would want, whether it's I just made a really fun bag for one of my friends, just got his beer league team logo on it.
Nice.
And thought it was awesome. And I went to Hobart College in upstate New York. They won the D3 national championship 3 years in a row, and we're working on making those guys bags and talking to local youth hockey associations here in Colorado. Good. And just really starting to go after teams and leagues, because now we have that capability.
Well, Dan, I mean, I'm beyond impressed by the bag and by what you guys have been able to accomplish. And the most impressive part is when you look at the bag, you'd never guess how much technology is in there and all that. And I'm just really impressed.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's awesome. The smell test was really compelling. I know people watching this can't smell what we smelled, but it was very compelling.
You can't hide bad smell. You know what I mean? Like,
especially
you can't
this smell. That's why the puck packs don't work. It's even tough to mask it.
It is for sure.
Well, and going off what you said, if you do want to check the bag out in person, we are in Center Ice Hockey here and in Denver. They have a store off County Line Road. It's a great store, great people. Definitely our favorite shop here in Colorado. If you're not going there, you should go there anyway, and you can go in there and check out the bag and really understand it for yourself.
Get your hands on it. I could definitely fit in the bag vaguely. And if anybody wants to get their hands on one of these, again, do want to remind you guys, and I believe we're going to have this promo code running for a little bit here.
Definitely.
So go to 43degreesports.com. Get your bag. Use that promo code Gorilla. That's going to get you free shipping. And then as Dan was saying earlier, you said if you sign up on the mailing list?
Yeah, it'll pop up on the screen right when you go to the website, and add your email in there, and you can use Team 43 promo code, and that'll get you $43 off your first order too. So
between those two codes right there, I mean, you can get a nice savings on a bag, especially if you're a parent, with a young hockey player. This is going to make your life a lot easier. And then if you're like me, who's just a beer league guy, it's going to make your partner happy. Your the whole family is going to keep from smelling. Like I said, Dan, this has been really fun. Just get to know the bag a little bit more.
Does it ship worldwide?
We are just North America right now.
Okay. That's
so
great. Get Canada captured.
Yeah, so we're patented in U.S. and Canada, and we're which is a very long, painstaking process, and we're working on extending it to Europe, but that doesn't happen quickly. So eventually we'll be there, but just throughout North America at this point.
Right.
Perfect. U.S. and Canada. That's
if 43 of you buy a bag using the promo code, we'll put Jesse in a bag.
I'll do the entire next show in the bag.
And we'll warm it up. So he's sweating the whole time.
He loves being warm, so I think he'll love it.
All right. So this is going to be a tangent. This is going to be a total sidetracking moment here. How much I hate being cold.
Yes.
I'm sure you've even been able to glean how much I hate being cold just from listening. I run insanely hot as a sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
It's a problem.
Yep.
My wife just got me a comforter that is supposed to regulate your temperature between 65 and 70.
Wow.
It's got all this technology. Unbelievable.
Wow.
I thought it was going to be a total gimmick.
Yeah. That's a tight range.
It's a tight range. And so we were, it was really warm the other night, and I was like sleeping mostly out from under the covers. And I was like, man, I'm really hot. This thing isn't working. And I said, you know what? Because it says that NASA uses it. And I said, it says that you're supposed to sleep under it and it'll regulate your temperature. So I'm really hot, but I'm going to go against conventional wisdom. And I seriously felt myself like starting to regulate. And I was like, this is crazy. Nice. But I'm freezing cold all the time until it's time to go to sleep, and then I'm burning hot. Dan, what do you think about this Avs forward group right now? It's a little incomplete in the bottom half.
It is, but there's still a lot of time. And I think I'm really excited and optimistic about this season because I think, and I've been saying this to everyone recently, especially people who are diehard fans but never were a part of a hockey team themselves, is that, in my opinion, the biggest part of hockey is camaraderie and coming together as a team. Go watch Miracle. It's like, and this team has so much turnover over trades and departures of notable guys like Mikko, of course, and even the injury luck that they've had for the last several seasons. I think it's been really hard for them to really gel and find real chemistry and come together as a team that you need to do in order to, of course, win the Stanley Cup. And I think that was something that was so strong and undeniable on the 22 team that, they had gone through adversity as a group and they had some disappointments, and they, the cliche, you got to learn how to win, but you got to learn how to win together as a team. And they went through that and they did that. And I'm really hoping that everything that they went through last season and the return of Landeskog and, you mentioned that earlier, even with Nichushkin, everything that he's been going through the last several years and that Gerard has been going through and all the new faces that are here, that hopefully this year, from the start of training camp all the way through, it's going to be more about building a team and more about building a family and chemistry so that they can have each other's backs in the playoffs and make sure that everyone is sacrificing and everything to get the ultimate goal. And I think that's what they were missing last season. I think on paper, their lineup was pretty undeniably great, but they just didn't have that gel factor. And I was in the building when Landy came back, and it was one of the most special things I've ever experienced. But in hindsight, I wonder if it was a bit of a distraction away from the real goal of winning the Stanley Cup. And I think there were a lot of outside factors the team had to go through in the last couple seasons. And hopefully this year they can start to come together in all the right ways.
You do wonder, we've talked about the fact that, you ran into the flat cap immediately after you win the Stanley Cup. So you're restricted in a way that you weren't really anticipating. Then everything happens with Gabe. Then everything happens with Val. You do start to wonder, and now, of course, they're going to start the season with some injuries and stuff already, but can this be a year where they can just focus on playing hockey? And exactly what you were just saying, building that group, and having a quiet season. It feels like there's been so much chatter around something for the last, what are we now, 3 years, 4 years since they won, that I do just wonder if this can be a year where they can just focus on the task.
And it starts from the net this year too. Like they're gonna they seemingly have so much confidence in their goalie tandem that hasn't existed again since 22, and now they're gonna be able to have that foundation of confidence in front of playing in front of both of their goalies that can allow them to get back to playing their sometimes high risk electric style of hockey that they're able to play. And last year, especially the first half, it was so evident to see that they weren't playing. They were thinking too much out there because they had a goalie that they felt like they had to, and if you're thinking in hockey, especially at a high level and especially at the NHL, it is far too late. You need to just be reacting and playing off your instincts.
Fast,
And when you're trying to worry about, I need to do this a little bit differently or make sure I block that shot because it's going over Georgiev's glove every time, it takes you completely off your game no matter who you are. And
what game was that last year where we said, oh shit, what was that? Where it was right before the Georgiev trade where we were like, that was a bad mistake by, I can't remember who it was. We said that was clearly because he did not trust.
I think it was Taves.
Yeah. I think you're right. Because he made a really weird read.
Yeah.
And we were watching what was he? But you sat there and you rewatched it and it was you could tell he was I just got to get to this puck because
normally he's taking the pass away and making sure that the goalie can handle the shooter, but you're not trusting the goalie to handle the shooter. So you're trying to do everything and nothing works.
Was it the Buffalo game?
It might have been
right before the Wedgwood.
right.
Yeah. Do you remember what I'm
resurgence.
talking about? Or
No,
am
I
just,
do.
okay,
And
all
the
right.
reason I'm turning the gears is because I think even Manson had a moment like this last season where he was overcompensating for a gap in the coverage. Like somebody was out of position and he knew they couldn't get back. So he was trying to cover 2 assignments at once and found himself in no man's land. And the reason I bring this up is I just wonder if some of Manson and the time missed and then returning this year, some of the uncharacteristic mistakes that Manson made, like, is some of that because he was still used to playing in front of a different goaltender? Like, did he need to get adjusted to, you don't have to overcompensate the way that you used to now because the goaltending tandem's good.
Yeah.
And he just missed some time that maybe
Yeah, he's
he
like,
hadn't
oh,
fully
shit.
acclimated to the goaltending. I'm joking.
I mean, it's, and I know you're being tongue in cheek there at the end, but like, I don't think that's a bad, hypothesis there. Like, again, on a way different scale. Growing up, when you're young, especially when you're little, you get kids who are just trying out goalie. You play different. And I'm sure that's no different at the NHL level. I thought you were going to make a Georgiev stinks joke. I think you'd be like, was Manson intentionally because Georgie smelled so bad?
Georgie didn't smell bad. His gear did.
No. Dan, thank you so much for coming by to hang out with us, man. Is there anything else you want to make sure that our viewers know about the bag, about you, about the company? Dude, we've been so excited being able to work with you just these last couple of weeks. We're really excited to keep doing so.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I feel exactly the same way. I've been a big fan of you guys for a while, and it's really great to be a part of it. And just to reiterate that this product really is a solution to a serious problem that we've all avoided and ignored in hockey for too long. And not only is it solving the problem, but it really is extraordinary having, especially for tournaments, putting on dry equipment and having warm skates and gloves and knowing that your gear is always ready to perform its best and ready to have a long lifespan, because this equipment is extraordinarily expensive. Sticks are north of $400 now, and you're spending $1,000 on a pair of skates. And having an equipment bag that is able to work for you to make sure that it's not only protecting you, but it's also protecting your expensive equipment is something that we're really excited to be able to offer to the whole hockey world. And hopefully we can help redefine what an equipment bag is and what the problem of stinky, smelly athletes are. You know? And we're starting in hockey, but our 5-year plan is to have, football and lacrosse and soccer. And, it works for a whole range of everything from, shoes and slippers to wetsuits and life jackets and anything in between. So, please check us out, give us a follow on social media, and we're rapidly growing and expanding and have a lot of really fun and exciting things here on the horizon. And we're excited to be a part of that and sharing it with Gorilla. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah, no, thank you, Dan. This is really exciting. Like, you mentioned the running thing earlier. I think I'm gonna have to fight my wife off from stuffing her running stuff in this and plugging my bag in. Running off. Yeah.
Do it. We got a review the other day that said my wife doesn't hate shoveling anymore, because every time it snows, she puts all of her snow gear in the bag and warms it up. And as long as she's not cold, she doesn't hate shoveling anymore.
Guess whose 43-degree hockey bag is going to be the back in their car with my jacket in it heading into Ballerina?
Oh, yeah.
This guy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to come in warmed up.
Oh, yeah. It's like that Seinfeld episode where Kramer warms up his clothes in the oven before he puts them on. Oh, yeah. It's amazing.
I was going to tell people that Jesse's car can auto start and begin heating anyways. So just to give you an idea of how dramatic he is.
I thought you were going to out me for the other thing I do to keep warm in the press box that everyone makes fun of me for.
No, I'll let Chloe tell.
Yeah, I was going to say, oh, wait, hold on. Are we getting some breaking news here?
You're kidding.
Yes.
Hold on.
Yes.
Mark just texted me about a Russian player playing for the Avs.
Huh? I feel like,
hold on.
I have a gut feeling that they're going to make a trade.
Did we miss something here?
Laptop's Sorry, this is coming open.
This is great podcasting. I'm going to. Sorry, excellent podcast. podcasting here.
Oh, Oscar Olausson has been traded to San Jose for Daniil Gushin.
Oh, all right. Okay. Oh, Oscar Olausson.
That's an
Okay. All right. Megan, any quick thoughts?
23
You have to be on a breaking
years
news
old.
pod. Sorry, I know you were thinking you were out of here.
No, I love it. I wonder if that's a classic, Avs swap of two prospects that
Prospect
are,
swap.
a little underwhelming, and maybe a change of scenery can help one or both of them.
Well, I think that the trade immediately helps the Colorado Eagles. I don't even mean that in a nasty way, but he's coming from more predominantly the Barracuda, and that was an interesting series. I think that there were frustrations about the lack of discipline on both sides, but especially the Barracuda, but the way that they played as a team is very Jared Bednar coded. And that was, something that Oscar Olausson maybe struggled with. So I think this player is coming from a system that, one, he's been a productive AHLer. And two, I think he's just coming from a system that's going to fit Colorado's style of hockey a lot better than Oscar Olausson was. What Oscar Olausson did well for the Eagles, they had represented in other ways. And so I think that there was something just about the heavy forechecking game, kind of relentless on pucks of the Barracuda that Gushin's going to bring with him. I hope I'm saying his name right. That
Mark's going to be pissed.
I know, Mike, I'm sorry. That I think will fit really nicely.
Yeah.
I'm not like eyeing it for NHL.
Right. Right. Very
upside,
productive AHL player though.
Right out the gate, but I think that will just be more useful to the Eagles forward group.
Currently without a contract, 23-year-old, a bit of an undersized guy, 5'8", 165, former third-round pick back in 2020. This looks like a high-skill player. 28 goals, 51 points, 56 games last year for the San Jose Barracuda. He's had a couple cups of coffee with the Sharks.
They've lost players like Matthew Phillips this offseason, which was a part of the Eagles' top six and some of that scoring punch. So they've needed to replenish it. And I think Oscar Olausson just wasn't going to be the guy that could step into that role.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like a Matthew Phillips replacement in a way.
Gotcha. My head also immediately went to Chinnikov. I was like, oh shit, are we gonna have to extend this pod by an hour real quick?
Yeah, that's immediately where my head went. It's more of an AHL deal, but still, I think an important one for the Avs depth to be better rounded out.
Does Mark have like a Russian NHL player alert on his phone?
No, Val just texts him.
They meet at the Russian grocery store and get all the all right, well there you go. An AHL swap. Yeah, maybe a little bit of a change of scenery thing for both players. We'll see how it goes. Dan, thank you so much, man. We're gonna have you back on again here soon. Talk more Avs and especially as you guys continue to expand this product line a bit here. Really excited to be partnering with you guys. Make sure you guys, if you want to go in for yourself, for your kid, a gift, birthday present, whatever, 43degreesports.com. Use that promo code Gorilla, get yourself free shipping. Get your email address in there as well. It's going to get you an additional $43 off your first purchase. Could not recommend it more. He's Dan Webb. She is Meghan Angley. I'm Jesse Montano. We got John behind the glass today, making sure you guys can see us, hear us, all that great stuff. Thanks so much for stopping by. You guys have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Take it easy, everybody.
Bye.
See ya.